Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Well, first tonight, Tasmania's state of emergency will be extended by another 2 months. However, there are signs the state is taking a small step towards recovery. The dancing ban will be relaxed. The only catch, you have to be tying the knot.
Planning for a wedding hasn't been easy in 2020, but there's one thing Tony Lee Rigby and Michael Rose can count on: having a wedding waltz.
Michael doesn't want to do it, but I'd like to do the bridal waltz. He can't waltz.
As the pair met their celebrant today, news broke bridal parties would be the one exception to the dancing ban.
The bridal waltz is a big component of a wedding, and to be able to recognise your marriage and your first dance together is very important to the young couple.
The Premier's phone has been ringing hot on the issue.
I know the number of brides that have contacted me. It'd be fair to say I haven't had that many grooms contact me.
Authorities say it's still too risky to allow dancing back in nightclubs. They're asking for patience.
I think we just need people to, again, think about what we're trying to achieve here.
Tasmania's state of emergency has also been extended by another 2 months. Tighter screening at arrival points will be in place next week, with all arrivals and essential travellers undergoing temperature checks. Meanwhile, the Parliamentary Committee has heard the breathtaking costs of hotel quarantine and cleaning the North West Regional Hospital.
The estimated cost for the deep clean of the North West Regional Hospital and North West Private Hospital is $1.8 million.
The total cost of quarantine hotels at that point in time was $10.8 million.
It was also revealed security guards at those hotels can work other jobs.
Is there any risk from a security guard leaving a hotel and then going to work somewhere else? Their answer is the risk is very, very low.
And finally, there is another activity back on the table. Pool is back, and so is darts. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Brazen thieves have smashed their way into 2 bottle shops, stealing thousands of dollars worth of alcohol in an overnight crime spree. Police believe 2 men are behind the burglaries, which have left several small businesses reeling.
Within seconds, these 2 clumsy thieves smashed their way in. Running into the Riverside Liquor Stack store at 1:30 this morning, they grab as many bottles of high-end spirits as they can before dropping and slipping on some on the way out.
They had a busy night. It's really disappointing, and this is the second time in 12 months that it's happened.
Sonia Mackey, who's worked at the bottle shop for 9 years, spent the morning cleaning up.
It doesn't matter how good you clean up, days after you're still finding little bits of glass everywhere, and there was broken bottles all over the floor.
The calculated crime spanned across 3 Launceston suburbs overnight. 2 hours before the bottle shop smash and grab, the men pinched a car, ramming open these metal gates before driving off with a white Mazda U from Glen Dix Electrical in Mowbray.
Rammed until they got it open because they're fairly solid gates. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock.
Less than 15 minutes after breaking into the Riverside store, the crime spree continued here at the Newstead Hotel. Detectives believe the same 2 robbers smashed their way into this bottle shop, stealing more alcohol. It's a big blow to the businesses.
It's hard enough now in business to try and make ends meet. It's all our workers dropped off a fair bit through the COVID. So yeah, it's probably not the best time to have this sort of things happening, and you know, there's a pretty low life people doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah, Launceston's been experiencing a really good period of low crime rates. For these type of crimes to happen now and to reoccur, it's just a timely reminder to business owners to make sure they are vigilant with their security.
The robbers remain on the run tonight.
That Mazda Bravo is still outstanding. We haven't recovered it yet, so we're asking for any witnesses to either burglary and stealing or has seen that suspicious vehicle since to give us a call or to call Crime Stoppers.
Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government is facing mounting pressure to extend its ban on evictions amid concerns vulnerable tenants could be left without a home. The minister says he's taking action to address the housing crisis, unveiling 18 new emergency shelters for those on the brink of homelessness.
For Sean Pitt, his stay at Bethlehem House has opened the door to a future beyond homelessness. The qualified arborist now looking to get back on his feet.
I've grown up doing that my whole life. Love working, and I was just hoping to get back into work.
He's currently staying in one of 18 new self-contained pods. The shipping containers designed like apartments, a safe place to call home, while tenants secure a house in the community.
Help people to work their way through them and recover, get back on their feet, make good connections in the community.
It's definitely picked me up and encouraged me to just keep moving forward and keep going. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
The future of Tasmanian tenants also in the spotlight, with a current freeze on evictions and rent increases expiring next month. 5 local support services joining forces, writing to the Premier to have that moratorium extended until the end of the year.
So the tenants don't have to worry about a roof over their head and don't have to worry about a rent increase.
Saying ending the freeze could leave vulnerable people open to evictions or rent hikes, while still struggling during the global pandemic. The government is yet to make a decision.
Well in advance of the current arrangements ending, we will have clear advice for people about what happens next.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Business leaders have come together to call for payroll tax to be waived until all coronavirus restrictions are lifted. Launching a campaign today, builders say around 1,000 jobs have already been lost in the sector and businesses are continuing to struggle.
Right now, the important thing is to focus on jobs, focus on getting people back, and a tax on jobs is a very bad thing at this point in time.
Businesses are currently not required to pay the tax on JobKeeper subsidies, but a previous relief scheme ended on July 1st. The state government is facing renewed pressure to make wide-ranging changes to the gaming industry after the release of alarming new figures. It shows poker machine losses have spiked by more than 0.25% above pre-COVID levels.
They're the machines that pull in hundreds of millions of dollars for the state each year. But this is one feature that won't excite the government.
We're looking at a 26% increase compared to July last year.
Pokie losses in July alone skyrocketing to nearly $20 million, an increase of more than 25% than before our first case of coronavirus.
That's huge when you consider maybe 60% of machines should be operating.
Pandemic-induced stress identified as one of the major reasons for the spike. Opponents to the gaming industry claim people are even withdrawing superannuation and welfare payments to feed their addiction. The government, however, has a different explanation.
That increase, as a result of not spending it, if going overseas or travelling interstate, people have had additional available funds.
Also adamant, the 0.8% rate of problem gamblers hasn't increased. Despite this, some believe a major overhaul of the pokies is needed.
By reducing bet limits, by slowing spin speeds, by lowering jackpots.
We've seen precious little information from the government about the future regulation of that industry.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
An issue-plagued shipping link to King Island is again facing new problems. Tasports will dry dock the John Digan for an assessment after concerns over the vessel's performance. The ship transports essential supplies to and from the island, but has been taken off the water multiple times this year. A charter ship will be used to fulfil freight movements in the meantime. 11 young Tasmanians, once at risk of long-term unemployment, are preparing to step into the workforce after graduating from a hands-on leadership program. They say the traineeship, which saw them operating a functioning business, not only improved their skills, but changed their life.
Smiling faces all round. Supporters watching on as these young Tasmanians and Troublesmith graduates look to the future.
Absolutely life-changing. There's not a part of this course that I haven't seen change my personal life. When I get up in the morning, the way that I look at myself in the mirror is a completely new person than when I started.
It's the end result of a program designed to help those aged 15 to 24 at risk of long-term unemployment. Together, they all work in this shop, soaking up their hands-on training.
They're with us for 8 weeks in our retail store in Watchwan Street, and throughout that they just learn to run the business, essentially.
The store offering a range of products, and it's young people in charge, working across all areas from brainstorming and making new items, through to front of house service and bookkeeping. 5 of them staying on for another 8 weeks in a mentoring role.
Every skill that you're learning in business or in the retail environment, it's all transferable skills. So every young person, they really just need that place to start.
I was honestly not sure whether I'd be able to finish this, and getting it done is just, yeah, it's a wonderful feeling.
And the graduates are already finding some success, despite tough conditions in the wake of coronavirus.
So we've got 2 people who are going straight into work, we've got others who have job interviews lined up, others who are going on to study.
It's given me the confidence to actually go in and cold canvass a ton of different places, and from that I've gotten interviews to places that weren't even advertising as hiring.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
One of the state's biggest construction firms has joined forces with an unlikely ally. A number of excavators from Hazel Brothers have been transformed by the Terrapin Puppet Theatre into what they've described as monster trucks. The plan is to have the unique designs appear all over Tasmania.
So if you were to travel around the state over a number of months, you would be able to collect these monster trucks, and there would be a story that would bind them all together.
Terrapin says its focus has shifted towards developing large-scale projects for public spaces. A new management deal, a plan to deal with wild fallow deer, will be developed by the state government. A recent aerial survey of deer found there were 54,000 in the area surveyed. It's the first time estimates of the population in the wild have been scientifically collated. The plan will set the direction for deer management over the next 5 years.
Olympia has churned through another coach, with Andrew Brown parting ways with the club, while 2 big-name Blues are returning in the TSL this weekend. 2 defeats in a row isn't setting off alarm bells at Windsor Park. Mitch Thorpe says the side's blistering start to the season put pressure on the young Blues, and there were always going to be bumps in the road.
We're young and raw, and sometimes it's hard to maintain the rage.
Maturity will return to the side on Sunday though. Thorpe's recovered from a back injury. Tim Bristow's also set to return. Ball delivery into the forward line will be scrutinised.
We had enough of the ball. We just butchered the ball going inside 50 and turned the ball over too often. And with a side like North Launceston, they obviously rebound and score at the other end, and that really takes the momentum out of the game.
Kingborough's coming off a scrappy loss to Lauderdale in heavy rain. Former AFL duo Kieran Lovell and Mackenzie Willis topped the list of ball getters. Coach Trent Bomella believes Willis will keep getting better.
If that was a performance from him with a little bit of rust on, you know, when he gets going, it's going to be pretty exciting for the comp and the club as well.
South Hobart comes up against Olympia this week with one key difference. The Warriors have parted ways with coach Andrew Brown, leaving last year's leader Rob Clark at the helm.
Olympia do what they want when they want, so I don't think it matters the opposition, but yeah, we're just trying to focus on us and making sure we're ready for the game at hand.
South's on a 2-game winning streak and will be hard to stop at Warrior Park. And Mystic Journeys aiming to return to the right path in tomorrow's Group 1 Memsie Stakes. And we have another Friday night flashback. Last week we saw Richmond light up Darwin. 20 years ago they lit up Devonport in a practice match against Hawthorn. Devonport rolled out the green carpet for the two sides, and Nathan Chapman, later an NFL punter, soared. An extraordinary 7,000 fans packed the Oval, more than a quarter of Devonport's population at the time. John Barker opened the goal scoring for the Hawks, but Tigers skipper Matthew Knights was king of the coast, kicking a major and setting up another, setting up Devonport local Ben Harrison to the crowd's delight. Chris Barlow went down and the day didn't get much better for the Hawks, Nick Holland missing from point-blank range. There was plenty of commitment in front of the food truck, but missed scoring shots continued to hurt the Hawks. 7 points down with 3 minutes to go, Richmond came back. Knights would again be the central figure with late goals, the Tigers recording a 5-point win. The enormous public response to the match would pave the way for Hawthorn to start playing games for premiership points in Tasmania from the following year.
Good evening. I wonder if anyone got a whiff of spring in the air today. Above average temperatures, bulbs and cherry blossoms in full bloom. The sound of allergic sneezing on the wind certainly felt like spring to me. Hobart 18 degrees, Launceston and Devonport 16, Burnie 17. The top today was 19 at St Helens as temperatures sat up to 5 degrees above average. Friendly Beaches 18, Grove and Bushy Park 16, King Island 15, Lowhead, Strawn and Flinders Island 14 degrees. We did have some low-level cloud over the west of the state, higher cloud streaming over the northeast. A spread of low-level cloud is also to our west. A band of cloud sits well south of the Bight. The continent remains mostly free of cloud. Tomorrow, the positioning of the high directs a northwesterly airstream over the state as a cold front moves through South Australia. The wind still with a bit of punch, up to 20 to 30 knots tomorrow and even reaching 35 to 40 knots over the south in the morning, swells to 5 metres. A gale warning has been issued from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point, a strong wind warning from Flinders Island to Wineglass Bay and also from Low Rocky Point to Sandy Cape. The weekend for Hobart, partly cloudy tomorrow, 17 degrees, 15 for Maydena, a light morning shower moving on. Oatlands partly cloudy and 15. Launceston looking for 16 degrees, bit of cloud about. Devonport 15, a top of 10 for Lyowini. Burnie, a high of 15, partly cloudy, a light morning shower in the west, Strawn 16 and Marrawar 15 degrees. And in the east, 17 for St Helens and mostly sunny. Swansea the same, a top of 18 for Orford. On Sunday, showers developing and moving right across the state. Hobart looking at 20 degrees. Nearly 10 degrees cooler though on Monday, with snow expected to 700 metres. And for the first day of spring, showers over the west and north, a cool cloudy day elsewhere. Partly cloudy in Perth, 19, sunny in Adelaide and Melbourne, fine also in Canberra and Sydney, 23 and sunny in Brisbane. It's clear in Hobart, 13 currently, Launceston 11 degrees and 11 right now in Devonport. That's the weather for Daffodil Day, Kim. For those that have just forgotten about Daffodil Day, I'm sure they can get on their computer, get on the line and make a donation.
Good idea. Thanks very much, Murph. And that's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Louise will be in the studio over the weekend. On behalf of the entire 7Tas team, good night.